Mark Mobius, just a legend within that space. What can you tell us about the impact that he had on emerging markets, the way that Wall Street sees emerging markets, and what legacy he has?
Yeah, really sad headlines coming out of Singapore today. He was the pioneer of the emerging market investing in the 90s. If you think about today, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of active and passive funds dedicated to emerging markets overall, individual emerging market stocks. We had nothing like that back in the 90s. Back in the days, there were a lot of financial crises there. If you think about the 1997 Thailand devaluation of the Thai baht, the 1998 financial crisis in Russia, where other people fled the region, had no interest in investing in that part of the world. He saw individual opportunities. So his biggest legacy and his biggest contribution is he really introduced that part of the world to American investors. Not, it's a very well-known part of the world right now. It was not the case back in the 90s. So he was the first person, if we think about this, to put emerging markets on a global radar.
Yeah, and what's kind of fascinating, as you say, he started one of the first mutual funds dedicated to developing markets, and that fund, and it's interesting, closed-end fund, open-end funds. My first job in this world was doing a mutual fund show, and he was someone we would highlight or have on as a guest when we were talking global or international. But that fund has actually done really well throughout its tenure.
It has outperformed the MSCI emerging markets benchmark. It has outperformed every other benchmark you can think about over the course of the decades. The reason why is Mark Mobius was very active. He would hop on his plane, go to the most remote parts of the world, in China, in Russia, in Eastern Europe, in Latin America. He would go to every part of the world.
Kick the tires.
Yeah, he would absolutely visit. He would visit every factory, every department store of a publicly traded company that he would want to invest in. And that's why he carefully selected those opportunities. We think about India, we think about Latin America and Argentina, we think about China. So, he did criticize that part of the world, but, he found some gems.
Can I just say, he was also so distinct in terms of how he looked. And what's interesting is, I don't think I knew this, that he was born on Long Island.
Yes, he was. He was born to Puerto Rican and German parents, so he had this, international background. He was also a citizen of Germany, so that's that made him like a very big international figure.
He learned Japanese culture and the Japanese language in Kyoto. It triggered his desire to live and work in Asia. A PhD in political science from MIT. He took a job with International Research Associates. He worked for years at Franklin Resources, and then launched his own firm.
Right, correct. But his biggest legacy is from Franklin Templeton, where he was the main person behind the benchmark Franklin Templeton Emerging Market Investment Trust. So he oversaw that fund until 2015. And that's how he became super famous, and that's how he made emerging markets investing famous, through that fund. At the same time, I should say, he criticized emerging markets when that was due. He was very critical of capital controls in China. He was critical of some of the policies in Argentina. He selected individual opportunities in India. So it's not that he bought emerging markets across the board, but his contribution is just outstanding.